All right, let's talk about something that is absolutely critical for anyone, and I mean anyone who's building their second act. We're going to talk about making strategic space. It's all about how to clear out the old to make way for the new, so you can launch your next chapter with total focus and zero baggage. This quote really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? You can't reach for anything new if your hands are full of yesterday's projects. It's such a powerful reminder that creating a really fulfilling second act isn't about adding more stuff, it's about having the wisdom to finally let go of what's been holding you back. So, here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll look at the weight of yesterday, all that stuff we're carrying. Then, we'll uncover the hidden cognitive costs of all that clutter. After that, we'll totally reframe our thinking with something I call the sunk cost liberation, and then dive into a super practical action plan, the 30-minute power menu. And finally, we'll understand why this clearing out process, well, that is the real work. Okay, so let's dive right into our first section, identifying the clutter. For those of us who have decades of experience under our belts, we've also managed to accumulate decades of, well, stuff. And it's not just physical stuff, it's digital too. I'm willing to bet this feels a little familiar, right? We've all got them. That digital folder of brilliant ideas from 2019, that stack of business books we swear we're going to read one day, maybe even a storage unit that we're paying for every single month. Look, these aren't just things, they're anchors to your past, and they can keep your second act from ever really setting sail. So to really get a handle on this, it helps to break it down into three main buckets, as you see here. First, there's the physical clutter. The old filing cabinets, the boxes of supplies for a hobby you haven't touched in years. Then you've got the digital clutter, that inbox with thousands, maybe tens of thousands of unread emails. And finally, and this might be the most important one, there's the mental clutter, the ghosts of old goals and that nagging feeling of what if. Okay, let's build on that because here's the kicker. This clutter, it's not just taking up space. It is actively and secretly draining your energy. This is the real hidden cost that holds so many amazing second act entrepreneurs back. And there's actually a really fascinating psychological reason for this, and it's called the Zeigarnik Effect. Now, what that basically means is your brain absolutely hates unfinished business. Every single incomplete task, from an unanswered email to that abandoned project, it's like an open tab on your computer's browser, just slowly draining your mental battery in the background. That's why you can feel so exhausted at the end of the day, even if you feel like you didn't really get that much done. And the cost of this? It's staggering. We're talking up to a 40% hit to your productive capacity. Seriously, just take a second and think about that. What could you build? What could you create? What could you achieve with a 40% boost in your mental horsepower? And that is why getting that 40% back is so critical for us. Just look at these numbers. Founders over 55 have a stunning 70% success rate after 5 years. Your decades of experience, that is your superpower. But that superpower is only truly unlocked when you have the clarity and focus to use it. Okay, so we've laid out the problem, we see what's at stake. Now let's talk about the solution. And this is a mindset shift that I have found to be incredibly powerful. I call it the sunk cost liberation. After years as a CPA, I can tell you this is one of the most valuable lessons, not just in business, but in life. All that time, all that money, all that energy you've poured into past projects, it's not a loss. It's the tuition you paid for the wisdom and clarity you have right now. You've already learned the lesson. Now it's time to let go of the textbook. And this all boils down to one single, powerful question you have to ask yourself. When you look at one of these old projects or commitments, you have to ask, does this serve who I'm becoming, or is it just serving a memory of who I once thought I'd be? Realizing that and letting go, that isn't failure, that is freedom. See the difference? It's a total game changer. You're not giving up. No, you are making a CEO-level decision to strategically reallocate your most valuable assets, your time, your energy, and your focus on the things that are going to give you the highest return on life. All right, we've got the mindset right. Now let's get tactical. And listen, this isn't about some massive, exhausting weekend purge. No way. This is about small, consistent, and totally ruthless action. The rules here are super simple. 4 steps. First, you pick just one item from the menus we're about to look at. Just one. Second, you set a timer for 30 minutes. Third, you execute without hesitation. And fourth, you see that one task through to completion. The goal here is a quick, decisive win that builds momentum. First up, let's attack the digital world. For your 30 minutes, you could choose to unsubscribe from 20 newsletters you haven't opened in months, or you could just go through your bank statement and cancel 3 recurring subscriptions you totally forgot about. These might seem small, but each one closes another one of those open loops in your mind. Okay, next up, your files, both the paper kind and the digital kind. A great 30-minute task is to just go through one single drawer of your filing cabinet and shred anything you're not legally required to keep. Or, a personal favorite, just open up your computer's downloads folder and delete everything. It's a simple act of digital hygiene that feels incredibly good. And finally, let's talk about your physical space. For this 30-minute sprint, you could just fill one bag with books to donate, or maybe finally toss the supplies for that hobby you were really into 5 years ago. Remember, your physical space should reflect your future, not be a museum of your past. Okay, as we start to wrap this up, I really want to leave you with what might be the most important reframe of all. This process, this clearing of the deck, it's not just something you do before you start your next big thing. I really want you to let this sink in. You cannot build the business of your future on the cluttered foundation of your past. Creating the space isn't the thing you do before the work. Creating the space is the work. It is the essential, non-negotiable first step. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What will you make space for? What incredible new passion? What exciting new venture? What new version of yourself is just waiting for you to clear the deck so it can finally emerge? And hey, if you're ready to start building with that kind of clarity and focus, we've got a whole library of resources designed just for professionals 55 and over. You can get free access to step-by-step guides, business templates, and checklists in the Retirepreneur Hub. Thanks so much for watching.